Hey, this is Christy Mattoon here from Mind Rewire. And today I am just simply telling you a story, and I'm going to be reading it from these pages. It's something I actually just now refound. I read this years ago. It was actually handed to me by a therapist, and I was like, oh, wow, look at this. And it just surfaced again. So I want to read this to you with some minor revisions in the way that it comes up in my head. The story is called The Bridge by Edwin Freidman from Freidman's Fables. So this is one of his fables. And I am revising a bit of it, so know that if you ever go read it, some of this stuff is kind of the way I read it in my own head. So there was a woman who had given much thought to what she wanted from life. She had experienced many moods and trials. She had experimented with different ways of living, and she had her share of successes and failures. And at last, she began to see clearly where she wanted to go. Diligently, she proceeded to find the right opportunity. Sometimes she came close, only to be pushed away. Often, she applied all of her strength and imagination, only to find the path hopelessly blocked. And then, it came at last, and it would make itself available for a short time. And if it were seen that she was not committed, the opportunity would seemingly just vanish and not come again. But eager to arrive, she kept starting out on her journey. With each step, she wanted to move faster. With each thought about her goal, her heart beat quicker. With each vision of what lay ahead, she found renewed vigor. Strength that had left her since her early youth returned, and all kinds of dormant desires awakened within her. Hurrying along, she came upon a bridge one day, built high above a river in order to protect it from the flooding lands below, from the flooding of the springtime. As she started to cross, she noticed somebody coming towards her from the opposite direction. And as they drew closer and closer, it seemed as though the other were coming to greet her. She could clearly see, however, that she didn't know this person. They were dressed similarly, except something was tied around this other person's waist. When they were within hailing distance, she could see what the other person had on her waist was a rope. It was wrapped around her several times, and probably, if extended, could reach the length of nearly 30 feet. Just as she was noticing this fact, the other began to uncurl the rope. And as they were coming close, the other person said, "Pardon me, would you be so kind as to hold the end of my rope for just a moment?" Surprised by the request, which was made so politely, she agreed. Without a thought, she reached out and took the rope. "Thank you," said the other, and then added, "2 hands now. Remember, hold on tight." And at that point, the other jumped from the bridge. Within a second, the free-falling body hurled the distance of the rope's length. And from the bridge, she instantly felt the pull, the tug on the rope, and instinctively she held on tight. The weight almost dragged her off the bridge too, but she managed to brace herself against the edge, holding on as tight as she could, her heels digging into the ground. However, after having caught her breath, she looked down at the other dangling, swinging, close to oblivion. And she yelled down from the bridge, "What are you trying to do?" And the other just yelled back up, "Please just hold on tight." She yelled, "This is ridiculous." And she thought and began trying to pull and haul the other one back up in. She couldn't get enough leverage, however. It was as though the weight of the person and the length of the rope had been carefully calculated in advance, so that together they created a counterweight just beyond her strength to bring the girl back to safety. "Why did you do this?" she called out. "Remember," the other said, "if you let go, I'll be lost. And then the lady cried out, "But I can't pull you up." And the other said, "I'm your responsibility now." "Well, I didn't ask for this," she said. "If you let go, just remember I'll be lost," repeated the other. She began to look around from the top of the bridge for help, but there was no one coming near. How long would she have to wait? Why did this happen to befall her now? I was just on the verge of true success. She examined the side of the bridge, searching for a place to tie the rope, some protrusion perhaps, or maybe a hole in the boards. But there was no way to get around this newfound burden, even temporarily. "What do you want?" she asked the other hanging below. "Just your help," the other answered. "How can I help? I can't pull you in. There's no place to tie the rope so I can go find someone to help." "I know that," said the other. "Just hang on. That'll be enough. Tie the rope around your waist. Maybe that'll make it easier for you." Fearing that her arms could not hold on much longer, she tied the rope around her waist. Again, she repeated, "Why did you do this? Don't you see what you've done? What possibly could be the purpose? What purpose could you have in mind?" "Just remember," the other said, "my life is now in your hands." Suddenly, as if a miracle were about to occur, a person came rushing from the other direction across the bridge, and she stopped, looking at the lady holding the rope as the rope was dangling over the edge of the bridge. And looking around, the lady very, very quickly said, "Please come with me. I need help. My cow has fallen into a ravine, and I need help getting him out. Can you please come help me? I have rope. I have a way to pull. I just need more hands. I need more hands to help me pull this cow out." And she looked at the lady and said, "I can't. I have a burden of my own to bear." And confused, the lady stood looking down over the bridge and at this person she didn't have any idea who was and who was clearly not helping herself. The lady trying to rescue her cow kept running, and the lady just stood there. Again, the other from below yelled, "Just remember, my life is in your hands." What should she do? She thought to herself, if I let go, all my life I will know I let this other one die. If I stay, I risk losing my momentum toward my own sought salvation. Either way, this will haunt me forever. And with ironic humor, she thought to herself, to die instantly could mean freedom. I could jump off the bridge too while this other is still holding on. That would teach this fool, she said out loud. But then in an instant she thought, but I want to live, and I want to live life fully. I want to choose how I make my life, however I want to decide it. And then some more time went by. And then suddenly more people come walking across the bridge. This time it was a group of men. And the lady thought, aha, finally, help. And as the men approached her, they were walking across the bridge to let her know that there was a barn raising going on the other side, that there would be food and drink after the barn was built. And then after the picnic, they would be painting the barn. And they wanted her help in that painting. And so they asked her to stop by when her duties were done on the bridge. And the lady sighed and again looked over the bridge and thought, what on earth am I doing? And she said, as she looked over the side, now listen, I want you to hear me carefully. I think I know how to save you. But the other wasn't listening, and she wasn't interested. The lady called down from the bridge. You mean you won't help? But I just told you I can't pull you up by myself. And I don't think I can hang on much longer. And there's things going on around me where people are willing to help and willing to move and do things. And I want to help and I want to engage too. The other shouted back, sounding as if she was in tears. But you must try. You must keep trying. If you fail, I will die. The point of decision had arrived. What should she do? What an impossible decision to have to make. My life or this other's? And then a new idea, a really new idea occurred to her. So new, in fact, it almost bombarded on revelation. So foreign was it to her traditional ways of thinking. I want you to listen carefully, she yelled down from the edge of the bridge, because I mean what I'm about to say. I will not accept the position of choice for your life, only for my own. The position of choice for your life I'm giving back to you. What do you mean? The other asked, sounding afraid. I mean simply this. It's up to you. You decide the way this ends. I will become the counterweight, but you do the pulling. You bring yourself up. I will even tug a little when I have the chance and the strength. And from there, she began unwinding the rope from around her waist, thinking about the cow in the ravine and the lady willing to help, thinking about the barn raising and the men with the food and the drink and painting that was waiting. She braced herself anew against the side of this bridge. The other from below only shrieked, "You can't mean what you say! You would not be so selfish. I am your responsibility. What could be so important to you that you would let someone die? Don't do this to me." From the bridge, she waited a moment, and she noticed there was no change in the tension of the rope. From the top of the bridge, she yelled down one last time, "I accept your choice." And she let go. She freed her hands. And as the rope freed from the ground and moved down and fell, the woman stepped back as she started to fall. When she landed on the ground, she kept her eyes closed. And as she rolled over to her stomach to push herself up, she noticed the feet of a bunch of people standing around her, helping her get up off the ground. She noticed it was the men from the barn and the woman standing there with her cow, helping her get up and make her way across the bridge. This is Mind Rewire. My name is Christy Mattoon. Thank you for being here.